we're back. Kamsa here, and welcome. In the previous two videos, we looked at abortion, and showed a little of the disdain that is present towards spiritual practitioners. Generally, your worldly materialist does not favor spiritual discussion, what to speak of, entertain, or reconcile diverse and contradictory expressions of spiritual thought. So what can we do? These videos are not intended for your ill-tempered atheists who are from the get-go adverse to spirituality. Often we see the attempt of the spiritualist to try and convert the atheist. And, with an equal amount of zeal, the atheists denounce the religious-minded. If we want to understand the disposition of the atheist and the empiricist, we need look no further than the divine pastimes of Hindu god, Lord Sri Krishna. Krishna appeared in India 5,000 years ago, and his divine pastimes are full of deep meaning. Nowadays, celebrities are glorified like deities, and their degenerate lifestyles bring nothing of value, what to speak of elevate the global consciousness. Divine pastimes, however, are beneficial for all. They are full of meaning, and can help us navigate material existence and attain transcendence. These pastimes are not just intended for mere abstract contemplation. In the Vedic tradition of India, Lord Krishna is understood by Hindus as the supreme god amongst a plethora of avatars, incarnations, and demigods. So Lord Krishna had many motivations for appearing in this world, and one of them was damage control. The demons were running amok, and Krishna had to check them into the Smackdown hotel. And he doesn't like to hang about. The first demon he killed was when he was still a baby. As an infant he killed the witch Putana, who had been deputized by King Kamsa with the MO to kill all newborn babies in the surrounding countryside. King Kamsa had been informed by the sage Narad that his would-be slayer had recently taken birth. Putana set about a task of killing newborn babies on behalf of the king. In order to do this, she shape-shifted into the form of a very beautiful wet nurse. Yes, that's right, I did just say shape-shift. Apparently, according to ancient Vedic texts, shape-shifting is a thing. That reminds me, there are some amazing histories of shape-shifting demons mentioned in the epics. So get your tinfoil hats ready for that one. But right now, we are with Putana. She came to the house of Krishna and found him sleeping. Her new form, that of a wet nurse, was so beautiful that Krishna's mother, Yasoda, did not suspect any foul play and allowed her to approach baby Krishna. Putana took him up in her arms and offered her breast to him to suck. But the nipples of her breast had been tipped with the deadliest of poisons. Baby Krishna was aware of the intention of the demoness and took hold of her breast. His grip was so terribly severe that it was enough to drive the demoness to despair as she convulsed in mortal agony due to the pressure of Krishna's little hands. The infant then applied his lips to the breast of Putana and sucked away her life. In an instant, the gruesome witch, bellowing with pain, was compelled to reveal her original, huge, loathsome, and demoniac form. As she fell lifeless on the ground, her hideous carcass covered a few miles distance, and infant Krishna was still clinging to her poisoned nipples. Still to this day, you can go and visit the villages that were named after Putana's limbs, which had landed in those particular locations. These pastimes of Krishna, which were recorded in the Srimad Bhagavatam, embody important morals for the seekers of the Absolute. Krishna's appearance symbolizes the eternal birth in the pure cognitive essence of the spirit soul, who is situated above all mundane limitations. King Kamsa represents the typical aggressive empiricist who is ever on the lookout for the appearance of the truth, so he can suppress him before he has time to grow up. This is not an exaggeration of the real connotation of the consistent empiric position. The materialist has a natural repugnance for the transcendental. He is disposed to think that faith in the incomprehensible is the parent of dogmatism and hypocrisy in the guise of religion. He is also equally under the delusion that there is no real dividing line between the material and the spiritual. He is strengthened in his delusion by the interpretation of the scriptures by persons who are like-minded with himself. This includes all the lexicographic interpreters. Lexicographical interpretation is upheld by the empiricist as the real scientific explanation of scripture and is perfectly in keeping with his dread and aversion of the transcendental. These lexicographical interpreters are employed by Kamsa in putting down the first suspected appearance of any genuine faith in the transcendental. King Kamsa knows very well that if faith in the transcendental is allowed to grow, it is sure to upset all his empiric prospects. If empirical domination is to be preserved intact, it would be necessary to not lose a moment in putting down the transcendental heresy the instant it threatens to make its appearance. King Kamsa, acting on this traditional fear, is never slow to take the scientific precaution of debuting empiric teachers of the scriptures, backed by the resources of dictionary and grammar, and all empiric subtleties, to put down, by the show of spacious arguments, the true interpretation of the eternal religion. Kamsa is of the persuasion that faith in the transcendental can be effectively put down by empiricism if prompt and decisive measures are adopted at the very outset. He attributes the failures of atheism in the past to the neglect of the adoption of such measures before the theistic fallacy has time to spread among the fanatical masses. The apparently causeless faith displayed by persons irrespective of their age, sex, or condition may confound all rabid empiricists who are on principle averse to the absolute truth, whose appearance is utterly incompatible with the domination of empiricism. No adverse efforts of the empiricists, whose rule over the minds of the deluded souls of this world seems to be perfectly well established, can dissuade anyone from exclusively following the truth, when Krishna actually manifests his birth in the pure cognitive essence of his soul. King Kamsa does not like to lose the service of the most trusted of his agents. The effective silencing of the pseudo-teachers of religion is the very first clear indication of the appearance of the Absolute on the mundane plane. The bona fide teacher of the Absolute heralds the advent of Krishna by his uncompromising campaign against the pseudo-teachers of religion. Cat, Sat.
Let's do it. Oh yeah!